with a major upset last Thursday closing SmackDown with Jeff Hardy going over Triple H to win the IC title on a show that ended up a big talking point mostly for drawing the lowest rated SmackDown of the year. The rematch was booked for tonight with Vince McMahon opening Raw for a promo following up on last week's angle that saw Linda asking for divorce, saying that he believes marriage should be forever and divorce should be illegal, with the subtle idea behind it of him not wanting to give Linda half his assets, saying that he will not agree for divorce and will make any sacrifice needed to make the marriage work, bringing out Debra to confront Vince, saying that he's having a negative influence on Austin, with Vince responding that everything that happened since WrestleMania was all Austin's idea, closing the segment with Debra slapping Vince in his only appearance on the night. As with the Backlash pay-per-view less than 2 weeks away with no matches announced yet for the event, early projections for the WrestleMania 17 pay-per-view are coming in at record levels, with the show expected to top the record 850 to 900,000 buys for the 99 and 2000 WrestleMania events, as with WCW and ECW abruptly folding to go from 3 wrestling pay-per-views a month to 1 almost overnight. The realization in the pay-per-view industry was setting in, with the WWF now the undisputed driver of the pay-per-view business, with the report of the first quarter of 2001, which included 2 WWF pay-per-views along with the last 3 WCW events and the final one for ECW, combined grossing over $52 million for over 84% of the total pay-per-view industry revenue, with the 2 WWF events in the Rumble and No Way Out topping the list by a huge margin, with both at record levels combining for over 1.1 million buys, giving the WWF massive leverage in pay-per-view advertising and revenue percentage going forward, with the company knowing their status taking a big ad campaign in cable trade journals with a full-page photo of Rock saying that WWF Entertainment rules the industry with both the #1 pay-per-view provided and the #1 show on cable television. Raw's first hour after the Vince promo saw 3 back-to-back matches, with the first one a tag titles match with Edge and Christian defending against the Hollies, followed by Bubba Dudley against Justin Credible and Kane against Stevie Richards for the Hardcore title, and with Raw last week almost holding steady in a positive sign after the big number for the post-Mania Raw. 3 days later on SmackDown, headlined by Triple H vs Jeff Hardy for the IC title, saw the show dropping dramatically to a 3.7 rating with 5.8 million viewers, one of the lowest rated and least watched shows in SmackDown history, with panic still not setting in, with the company looking to see if it was a one-week aberration or a worrying patterns of a massive drop in product interest, with the show also signaling the first SmackDown after the announcement that Rock would be off television for the foreseeable future, along with Steve Austin only having a limited role on the night, with him only appearing in the opening segment for a promo. As with the Hardys getting an opportunity in the main event spot for the first time in their career, any drop with them headlining will politically be blamed on them, despite Triple H also being in the match, with the Hunter-Hardy rematch for the IC title placed in the main event position again with over 24 hours of hype after being announced last night on Heat, will potentially have legitimate repercussions if numbers are significantly down again, with Austin again tonight having an even lesser role on the show than last Thursday, with him going back to the hotel room already in the first hour before even appearing in front of the crowd after being jumped by Matt Hardy backstage, putting all the focus of either the credit or the blame on Triple H's match with Jeff. After the last 3 weeks of big angles and storyline development dominating Raw, the show tonight was booked to be more wrestling heavy, with more ring time and no in-ring promos past the McMahon one in the opening quarter, with the highest rated quarter coming in the end of the first hour, with Kurt Angle vs Chris Jericho ending the first and opening the second hour in a match going 7 minutes, as Raw's first hour after dropping 1 million viewers from the previous week on April 2nd. rebounding slightly this week with over 200,000 viewers to 6.4 million viewers, bumping both the 9:45 to 10 p.m. and 10 to 10:15 quarters to the highest-rated quarters of the night. 5.2 ratings for the entire duration of the match, ending up with interferences from Regal followed by Benoit to set up the following match minutes later with the 5-minute Benoit vs Regal match, seeing Benoit going over in the build-up to the Angle vs Benoit and Jericho vs Regal Backlash pay-per-view matches, with Benoit and Jericho now officially established as baby faces. After announcing the official expected start date for the relaunch of WCW on Saturday night on June 9, Jim Ross, who is going to oversee the talent recruitment of the brand in a similar role to his WWF position, is set to fly to Atlanta during the week to meet with most of the WCW staff and production crew in preparation for the debut show, with 24 wrestlers already on the books and more expected to follow in the lead-up to June 9. Including already building to several WWF performers jumping to WCW after negotiations with Shane McMahon, with Big Show and Billy Gunn the two leading names currently teased over the last week, with most of the top names under Time Warner still not contacted for a contract buyout, with the three highest paid performers in Goldberg, Nash and Sting the least likely to accept a deal, with Goldberg, who under normal circumstances would be expected to be the top guy on the brand to build to huge pay-per-view matches against Austin and Rock, having close to 3 years left on his contract with a higher guaranteed salary than any WWF performer, putting him only behind Rock and Austin as the highest paid performer in the business, as another obstacle in recruiting him, with the risk of stirring things up with the rest of the locker room. Similar to SmackDown last week, with Austin only appearing for the 10-minute opening promo, Vince McMahon and Austin on the night only had 15 minutes of airtime to take out the three biggest draws of the boom period on WWF television, with Rock, Austin and McMahon barely appearing on the shows over the past week at a crucial time, with the short window of getting the lost WCW viewers appears to be closing by the week, as Raw's second hour, which went unopposed from Nitro either way, sharply dropped on the night from the 7 million plus range of the past 2 weeks to 6.6 million viewers. After heavily hyping the match over the weekend and on the Raw broadcast for the past 2 hours, Triple H and Jeff Hardy made their entrances at 10:50 p.m. for the main event earlier than usual, with the match set to go long in the overrun, seeing them go 12 minutes, with Hunter dominating the match throughout to build to Steve Austin coming back to the building to take out Matt Hardy in response to the attack over an hour ago, before making his first appearance in front of the crowd at 11:03 p.m. going after Alita, while Triple H pinned Hardy in the ring to win back the title, setting up another beatdown before the lights went out, with Taker and Kane coming out for the save to set up the Backlash pay-per-view main event 13 days to the event, as the Hunter-Hardy match and post-match angle did a show-high 5.9 rating, down from the past 2 weeks of main event ratings but still the peak of the night, with Raw overall dropping further from last week to a 5.1 rating overall to get back to almost the same range of what the show did against WCW competition in recent months.